How do we sense the world around us? Sensation refers to the process by which your nervous system detects a change, either inside your body or in the external environment, and sends that information to the brain. But it's not just about detecting the change. For a sensation to occur, four things need to happen. First, you need a stimulus. That could be light, pressure, temperature, pain, anything your body can respond to. That stimulus has to be picked up by a specialized receptor, which converts it into an electrical signal. That signal then travels through a sensory neuron, specifically an afferent neuron, to the central nervous system. Finally, the brain interprets the signal. Until your brain processes it, no matter how strong the signal is, you don't actually feel anything. A simple example would be touching a hot stove. The heat stimulates thermoreceptors in the skin, and if the temperature is high enough to cause tissue damage, nociceptors are also activated. These receptors generate an action potential that travels to the spinal cord. From there, two things happen. First, the signal is relayed through an interneuron to motor neurons, triggering a reflex arc that causes you to pull your hand away, even before you're consciously aware of pain. At the same time, the signal continues traveling up to the brain, where it's interpreted as heat and potentially pain. So that automatic withdrawal happens before perception, which is a perfect example of how sensation and reflexes are functionally connected, but not the same process. Now, when we talk about sensory receptors, there are a few different ways to classify them. One way is by the type of stimulus they detect. Mechanoreceptors respond to things like pressure, touch, or stretch. Thermoreceptors respond to changes in temperature. Nociceptors detect tissue damage or the potential for damage, and they're what give rise to pain. Chemoreceptors respond to things like changes in pH, carbon dioxide levels, or chemicals in the environment. And photoreceptors in the retina respond to light. We can also classify receptors by where they're located in the body or what kind of stimulus source they're responding to. Exteroceptors detect changes in the external environment like touch, temperature, or pain at the skin surface. Interoceptors monitor internal conditions like blood pressure, body temperature, or the chemical composition of blood. Proprioceptors give your brain constant updates about where your body is in space. They're found in muscles, tendons, and joints, and are essential for posture and movement. Finally, some classifications focus on receptor structure. Free nerve endings are unencapsulated and are often used for pain and temperature. Encapsulated endings, like Meissner's corpuscles or Pacinian corpuscles, are wrapped in connective tissue and help detect things like vibration or pressure. Specialized receptor cells, like rods and cones in the eye or hair cells in the cochlea, are involved in the special senses. To summarize, sensation requires a stimulus, a receptor, a neural pathway, and interpretation in the brain. Depending on what type of information is being detected, where it's coming from, and what the receptor looks like, we can sort sensory receptors into functional groups that help us understand how the nervous system is organized.